In the bottom left-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres here in our semi-finals, we have got the blue Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And the top right-hand side, our red Zerg is going to be Solar. Hello, and welcome everybody. If you're watching this on YouTube, hopefully this is a good series, because it's the one that I'm predicting is going to be good from this entire day. So much so that I'm going to do the YouTube intro and say hello and welcome, and I just want to say Happy New Year. This is, in theory, going to be my 31st of December New Year's Eve upload. Maybe for some of you it already is the New Year. Maybe for some of you it's a few hours away still. For a lot of you it should be. Maybe you've got a full day ahead of you, depending on where you are in the world. But I just want to say Happy New Year. I appreciate you all tuning in, dropping by, and taking part, and just watching the YouTube over the last year or so. It has been a pleasure to upload the videos for you guys, and while it has not been the year I wanted it to be on YouTube, it's still been a successful year. It slowed down a lot from last year, which maybe was always going to happen. It's picked up a little bit the last couple of weeks. I just want to say I appreciate you all watching. So Happy New Year. Hope the next year is great. We'll keep on producing the StarCraft content of course. So most of all, I just want to say keep on tuning in. Keep on liking the videos. Subscribe if you didn't already. And obviously we'll see you in 2022. Okay, so let's hope that this is a good series. I do all of this while two barracks are coming down. I'm like, well, is this gonna be the series to shout about, to scream about? You never know. 2 racks on 2K Atmospheres. I feel like a lot of the time this does transition into a bit more of a regular game, you know? You do a bit of damage initially, it transitions into a longer game. I see this sort of thing happening all of the time, so I'm not overly concerned right away here as to what goes down, since you do just have the few Lings running forward, and, well, obviously the pool first. It's going to be a pretty good shutdown, so that's not going to be a good start at all for ByuN, who's immediately in some trouble, and maybe just playing a little bit too predictably for Solar right off the bat. This was Solar's map pick. Map 3 will be Hardwire, Map 2 Curious Minds, so Curious Minds going to be the pick of ByuN, but usually you would see Solar or the Zerg pick Hardwire. Then Map 2 is Curious, the Terran map pick, and then Map 3 would be 2K Atmospheres, which is kind of just the agreed upon kind of middle of the road map. So to kind of lose this map already would be a little bit tough on either side, really, because then you're going to have to win on potentially your opponent's map further down the line if you want to make it through to the finals. Again, this is just a best-of-3 semi-final, and the finals best-of-5 today. Zest is awaiting in the grand finals to see who comes out on top of this series. Golden Zergling is nibbling the factory for a few moments here, and just going to see a Marine moving up the ramp is going to deal a little bit of damage. There's going to be that Zergling going down, so picked off right away. Factory going to move off to the side. Starport's going to come down now instead, and that will be that. As the other 2 barracks come back home, and we do have this group of Marines wandering around to try and make something happen at the end here. They're going to jump on top of this hatchery. That will take a bit of damage. I mean, the Queens are here, but you can't transfuse it, of course. That is going to force a cancel. Yeah, I think that's a good little win for ByuN, getting something out of this group of Marines and slowing Solar down from the start. Now here come the Lings, though. Ling speed is done, so that means that these units are now destined to die, and unfortunately that will be the end for them, but, well, obviously could have been a whole bunch worse, that's for sure. So hatchery still coming up on the 3rd base, just getting that restarted. And meanwhile, across the map, just going to be seeing the Lings launching a counter, but it's into a fully walled-off main base, which has a Hellion behind it, so you won't do much there, but obviously you're slowing ByuN down from potentially taking his natural and so on, so it's still worth kind of, you know, doing. It's not like it's completely pointless play. It's worth checking the water and testing the waters, right? Seeing if it's actually going to be worthwhile or not. So yeah, don't hate that play, and just going to be seeing the 3rd CC now starting up on this high ground as well. So ByuN straight to a 3rd base off the back of everything else that's been happening. Looks like we're ready to put our racks on a tech lab. I'm just going to move into pretty quick, kind of 2-on-1 in a way, right? 2nd rack's coming up, Starport's getting going. So you can kind of just go from there as the drones do get themselves settled over here. The Fuelings will continue onto the rocks. As Banshee just going to show up and pick away at a couple of these Zerglings, so a little bit of damage will be done. Aliens come through, Zerglin gets chased away, Stimpack still on the way up, the drones all coming through here, and the Queen and the Lair continue to come into play right now as well. Let's just continue to get this going. As our Lair and our Baneling Nest, all of this continuing, drones on the way in. Obviously, again, Solo just should be comfortable, doesn't need to prepare for too much because there's not a lot that ByuN can really do with the opening that he's had. And yeah, Solo just gets the Lair, gets the Bane Nest, gets Evo Chambers started, looking towards his upgrades as well, just a bit of everything at the moment, basically. .20 worker lead, obviously just sits in a comfortable position. ByuN's lone Banshee out to that right side is just not going to do much either. No cloak in it or anything. Just wants one Banshee, which maybe could have just been a situation where it's like, oh, I'm just going to save myself from, you know, if he decides to try and kill me right now with like a Roach follow-up. That's a reasonable thing to build. I think you definitely benefit from this Banshee more than anything else. And it's just going to be seeing it hanging out over the far right side. And a couple of medevacs are moving back into the center. Just going to go boosting along, and just going to head on to the center here. Just going to see a few of these Marines will begin to unload, and there's going to be a stim 4 to go for a few of the Queens. So Queens taking a little bit of damage over there as the upgrades continue through. Sorry, I'm on someone's camera, and I don't know what was so interesting about the engineering base once the fight started out, so that was a little bit funky, but all good. As you just see our Marines getting an overload in this action. We'll continue out in the middle of the map. Meanwhile, Queens and so on continue around, and we'll be looking to fix some of this creep spread, which is currently being cleaned out. It's something that ByuN did very well against Armani as well, right? He cleaned out the creep beautifully, and nice target fire on some of these Banelings. Not having that Baneling speed ready just means that ByuN can do things like this, get a couple of nice pickoffs. He needs to trade efficiently here with how the game has gone so far, and he is starting to do that. So yeah, I gotta say I enjoy that from ByuN a fair amount. Feels like that's going pretty well for him. Our 1-1 attack upgrades come in with a combat shield upgrade too, so that also continues into play at the moment, and just going to be seeing the continuation here as we see the Banshee back once more. That Clover's Banshee's doing a lot. Oh, Lings get in though. He's too late to raise these depots. That's a major loss. How many SCVs go down? How many of the Lings do you kill, right? Because if you kill a lot of these Lings and it's only like a few SCVs you lose, it's not so bad. He lost some Marines as well. And a fair amount of the Lings get away, so I don't think it's like super crazy or super great, all said and done. I don't think it's all that wild. We're just going to be seeing these medevacs. We'll continue back around that left-hand side, and just going to be seeing the 1-1 is about to finish here from ByuN in the next few moments. Again, that 1-1 completed. Bit of a Bane burst through here, wants to open up this wall again. I mean, there's no follow-up Zerglings though, so ByuN can just instantly rebuild the depots. Obviously, he will come, you know, out of this supply block, which hurts, and something he needs to deal with for sure, but obviously could have been much worse. So let's see, our Ling's going to wrap around, going in for a few of those rocks, and you can see our Marines pressing forward again. A couple Crypt Teamers going down. Now just going to see these rocks going to take a bit of damage as well here, so continuing through. Things are going to get back on top of this command center to take this down. Marines are going to get a few of the kills. Upgrades are not too far ahead for Solar, as we see the CC will get placed and try to be a saving grace. Just going to be having now our 2-2 upgrades and siege tanks continue into play as well. The Marines are also coming up here as we have ourselves a bit of fight maybe starting to happen. ByuN does have the medevacs, just lift up and get away. Good connection on the Banelings with the tank there. Doing decently. A few of the Banelings connected on a Marine or two left behind. So still just has that army supply lead that it's basically been there all game long, right? It's just been that advantage from the very early game here. Has been pretty much non-stop. And Burrow coming up as well, so we can maybe make use of those Banelings in another manner. Burrowing up around the map and making something happen with that. Hive on the way too, as we obviously have Hydras coming in here, so that will be a continuation in just a few moments. These Lings will come forwards and once again just look to fight these Marines, which get quite a few of those lings initially, just picking off a bunch of those. And we'll wrap around. Marines taking some damage. And Solo's maxed against a 140 supply ByuN. So what the hell is ByuN meant to do to slow this down? Not a lot, right? I mean, he's, you know, Solo's on his way to lurkers, and ByuN can't do anything about it. I mean, this really is a game which was somewhat decided in the defense of the 2 racks, and ByuN's tournament life might be put onto that game number 2 now, which honestly doesn't seem too far away considering the current state of things here. 2-2 finishing shortly, about to complete. Bang, gonna start streaming on in, just gonna see the tank taking some shots, continuing in for the surround. The Marines are gonna start fighting here. A lot of the Ling Bane being picked away at. I mean, these tanks are really hammering at this. 30 SCVs down. I mean, if you don't lose all those SCVs, it almost feels reasonable, right? Well, medevac almost going down. Some burrowed Banes around the map. Yeah, honestly, it almost feels okay if you don't lose the SCVs, but obviously if the SCVs are going down, it just becomes way too expensive. It's something you just cannot afford to have happen. It just becomes a situation you can't really do anything else about, really, so... Yeah, unfortunately, it looks as though we really are on our way to the solo victory. Again, I've said it a few times, and I don't like to cast pessimistically. I like to give hope and opportunity, but I don't really know what ByuN does. It's not like it's getting any better for him, right? You know, if maybe Solo was still on Ling Bane Hydra, I'm like, well, you're maxing out, you're dealing some damage, okay. But then you consider the fact that there's lurkers on the way, and that's my big issue. ByuN has no way to deal with the lurkers. I mean, again, you can just continue to hope that your opponent is going to come and just attack into you too frequently, and maybe you can take some very good repeated trades, but it becomes more and more problematic as the lurkers come up, and it just becomes more likely that this is just not going to turn into anything of anything that really works at all here. Step forward and just going to be seeing the Ling Bane coming through. A few of these Banes crashing into a lot of these Marines. Tanks get blinding clouded, and the rest of this Bioforce continues to back away. A few of these Banes continue to roll through for this, and just seeing the Banes connecting big time. Sola is going to have way too much. Does he end the game right here and now? Maybe he needs the reinforcements to truly end the game and to get the GG, but nope, he doesn't. ByuN's going to be happy to tap it out. Well, he won't be happy to, but he will accept it. What? You gonna just cry at me, are you? I'm sorry, guys. You got a crying puppy. Do you just want some love? Do you want some attention? You want a foot massage? Well, my foot to massage your back? You just want me to not be here? Because, I mean, I can't really not be here, you know? Couple of shout-outs quickly just as this game gets started. Thank you very much to... First of all, Snacks, yeah, 89 coming in with the fresh new Prime sub during that last game. And then just now, No Gretza, thank you so much for the Prime sub as well. Thanks for a couple subs, really appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Thank you very, very much as we continue through. And get this next game underway. ByuN will start bottom right side, and obviously, to note to begin with, no, nothing of interest happening immediately, right? No proxied barracks or anything along those lines, so pretty comfortable here as we get this set up. Top left is Solo, 1-0 lead for him. Curious Minds will be Terran's map picks. Smaller map, shorter map. Definitely want to be, you know, to keep in consideration that this is kind of the one that ByuN wants to play on anyway, so we'll see what his plan is. We'll see if he can take it to use, as if he loses here, he's out of the tournament in the semis. And hey, what's up, Sweffy Mo? Thank you so much for the Prime sub as well. Hope everyone's been having a great holiday season. Thank you so much for continuing to support the stream. And Tellus1 also going to just gift out a sub as well to Jold SC2. Thank you so much. Generosity pouring in on all fronts. Thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. As our Overlord hangs out in the center then. Reaper is going to go across the map and start to put a little bit of harassing damage out. Also, he just wants to try and hit these lungs a bit as a Zergling number 5 and 6 actually go on through here as well. So, actually doing pretty decent on the damage and gets 1 kill. Obviously, even just the fact that 6 lings were made is nice, because usually that can just be 4, and then obviously you're a single drone ahead of where you are now, so pretty neat as well. So Reaper just sits at the front. Hookah's 666, also on the fresh new prime. I'll say it simply for the fact that apparently we're 1 sub or 100 bits or whatever, or resub away from a hype train. Thank you so much for the love, guys. I appreciate the support. Waiting for this game to develop into something more interesting, as right now marine production continues. It does suggest that the armory and the Hellbats will be coming through here shortly. Just going to be seeing that Reaper up to the high ground. And D. Hogginsby, thank you so much for the 23-month resub as well. As this game gets a little bit more interesting, we'll maybe pay a little bit less attention to the resubs and stuff. Let's see how it continues on, see how we do. Reaper just sitting out in the front here, trying to see what's going on. Just trying to see what's happening. Trying to put a little bit of pressure into play. Aliens and the Reaper out around the left-hand side. Wanting to try and find some openings. That armory that we mentioned as a possibility is now starting to come through into play as well. So just seeing this come on up. Let's see how this Hellbat attack is going to be looking for ByuN. And Solo's making a lot of lings. Is getting his queens collected together. Feels like he's fairly well prepared for this, as initially these marines will just hit this overlord. And Medivac, obviously the prime target from the queens. Push back that Medivac, you push back the healing, you get rid of the healing. Obviously, everything else becomes a lot simpler for you from that point onwards as the queens continue to chase the marine Hellbats up the ramp. Medivac as well. And just going to be seeing our Bale Nest coming down from Solo now, too. I mean, ByuN has not been rushing into this. He kind of let the queens back up a little bit, and now he's going to come back in, trying to bait these Zerglings into this fight to some extent as well. You can see them going to the right side. We'll catch the 2 new Hellions, and that's a beautiful catch. Well, it's great to be able to grab those. This is really nice. Counterattack at least will be blocked by the Warlock, but this Hellbat attack is really not going anywhere any longer. This one is already just a done deal, it would seem. ByuN's still going to collect together on that left-hand side. And just wait for the next opportunity of this very soon, if he can find one. It looks like the Lib might try going to the natural, and, well, there's a Spork Roll already there to be dealing with it, so, I mean, maybe you could siege up the gas. There's openings, right? There's chances. I mean, now there's Baneling's Morphin as well, which is going to take away his chances to maybe doing something with this. See how it goes very soon. One Zergling just confirms that these units are still here. We'll see that there's more of them than before as well. And we go. Hellbats splitting up a little bit. We've got a few units in the Medivac, which is far from ideal as well. Not exactly great. As we pull back up the ramp, and just going to be seeing the units hanging around up there and chilling out. Coming back through, just going to get rid of the queens and pick away those a little bit more as well. I mean, honestly, just holding this high ground, trying to get some damage done. Here's the Liberator, which is going to get rid of just a couple of drones as well. So not even really all that fantastic either there. It's just going to be seeing... And none of this is really doing a lot for ByuN, apart from maybe denying creep up the center and, I guess, keeping Solo building units. Now look at this, +1 vehicle weapons on the way from ByuN. I didn't realize he had it on extra factories behind this already. He's playing mech? Why are we playing mech, ByuN? What sort of weird decision is this? Queen, number 1 goes down there. We're going to see another is already in a bit of trouble. The Bane start moving through. There goes the Medivac. I mean, like I said, ByuN just... In a way, I mean, he's keeping his opponent building Ling Bane while he's playing mech. In theory, that's fantastic. So in that regard, this part of this is very good already, and the single Hellbat splitting forward to eat some Baneling shots. I mean, that's fine as well. That's obviously good news. So intrigued as to what the hell's going to happen in this mech game now. I mean, why is ByuN playing mech of all people? On Curious Minds' own map pick, I'm so interested. Like I say, I mean, the fake out so far might have just been good. Solo doesn't know that it's mech. He doesn't... Okay, he puts down a Road Thrower now. I think this is the first time you're really kind of seeing Solo recognize that this is maybe, you know, not Bio, because Ling Bane is obviously good against Bio. I mean, he does start a melee upgrade, though. Maybe he plays melee upgrades with kind of like Roach support. That's absolutely a possibility here and something that can go very well for you, so... not be a terrible idea, as Hellions going to move up with a couple of Thors. I mean, a lot of Banes are morphing. If you just have enough Banelings, you can obviously do very well with this, right? So, here we go. Just going to split up against these first few Hellions. I mean, these Hellions are not Hellbats, so they can actually kite away from Banelings at the moment. The Thor's doing some damage here. Those Banes finished just a little bit before ByuN was ready for them, as actually lifted into the Medivacs to save the day. A massive Ling counterattack, and SUVs die on the third base. Well, killing some drones on this top side as well. Problem is, you still need to protect your Thors. We lift into Medivacs again. We're running out of Hellions, man. ByuN just lifts up and backs out of here, but I'm not sure if this is going to have been enough, as ByuN is some serious trouble. It's going to be seeing the Thors continuing through and just heading forwards a little bit. Moving to the front as we get ready for another round of this. I mean, just the same continued attack, more or less. I would imagine here. Nothing else too crazy going to be going on. As you see, the Ling Bane just going to start pressing forwards. Just going to be seeing the tanks. The Thors starting to get involved in this just a little bit. The Thors will pull back. I mean, Ling's already in the natural. And you've got Roach Ravager to back this up as well right now. It feels like this is way too much from Solar. I'm not sure this is really going to be holdable from ByuN. And in a way, you know, looking back on this, I don't hate it. I kind of like it, actually. It could have been a whole lot worse. Jeez, and that is going to be it. As Solar takes game number 2 and moves to the finals against Zest. Just weird build choices by ByuN. I don't mind the T-Rex the first game, but the mech in this game, always a question mark for me.